We are at the end of 2022, also known as the first year that I have been doing YouTube videos here, first 7 months, and it's been pretty exciting. Almost 50,000 subscribers, and one of the first 50,000 subscribers will win $1,000, so make sure you're subscribed. But when I first started this channel in June, one of my first videos was a breakdown of my net worth at that time. We should see where it's at today at the end of 2022. Now, here's the fun part of this video that's different from the other net worth breakdowns. I actually don't know what it's at right now. We're gonna figure it out as I'm doing this video. I used to track it on a month-to-month basis, which, that's a little too often, but I realized wasn't really good for my mental health. I knew if I was doing things with my money that made sense, was justified by math, and followed all normal financial advice, that my money would be working for me. That being said, we know how 2022 has been for the markets, and everything has been down. Housing market reached its peak, and now it's on its way down, especially in cities like Austin, where my primary residence is right here. So I'm not expecting the best gains since my first video on my net worth breakdown. But we'll see. So a little background for people who do not know the entire story of my real estate journey so far, which is where a heavy portion of my net worth resides. I moved down to Austin over 4 years ago at this point for a sales job, and I worked my butt off to be at the top of that sales team, bringing in as much commission as I could. At that point, I had some pretty bad debts, some pretty bad credit card debts, private student loans, and even some debt to my grandparents who helped me with a down payment on a car. Yeah, that's right. I borrowed money for a down payment on my car from my grandparents because I was a complete financial idiot 6 or 7 years ago. Terrible. But I used that opportunity with a really good job to work my butt off every single second, even off hours, emailing clients, bringing in as much commission as possible, and I paid off those tens of thousands of dollars in bad debt in a matter of just a few months. From there, I knew what I wanted to do because I was already reading every finance book, watching all the finance YouTube videos, taking finance classes, becoming a miniature financial expert. I mean, come on, I can't really call myself that. I'm just a finance nerd who has opinions, really, and bases things off my own personal experience and learning from others. But from there, what I wanted to do based on everything I've learned is get into that good old real estate game. I was going to start with what everyone suggests and what I, non-officially financial advice, suggest on this show with a primary residence instead of a rental property. I wanted to buy in Austin. I've grown to love this city, and this is where the office was based for the company that I worked for at the time, before everything went remote, of course. So I minimized my lifestyle. I split pretty cheap rent for the city with a roommate for a couple years, making that sacrifice, really not spending money on any fun other than food. That's always been my vice, and saving up every single penny I could outside of that for a down payment on a home. After about a year, which was about 2.5 years ago from now, I had enough money saved up to put 10% down on a home that was about $250,000 $250,000 in the Austin area, which at the time was actually, findable. Findable. Is that a word? Tell me in the comments. I'm not sure. Findable? Either way, I linked up with a realtor who I've grown a great relationship over these past couple years with, and I looked for my first home in Round Rock, Texas, which is a city just north of Austin, basically a suburb. I know many people would be upset with me saying that, but it's basically a suburb of Austin, let's be honest. I found a home in my price range, and I put 10% down, 30-year fixed rate mortgage, so yeah, I had to pay some PMI. But interest rates were great, and the minimum monthly payment is well within my budget. But that's when things started going crazy. You know how the housing market went when the pandemic went crazy and the world shut down. Everyone started moving from their cities and interest rates were practically nothing, and the housing markets in specific areas just went crazy. Austin was one of the highest places where that happened. After just 6 months, I linked up with my realtor and I was like, hey, what do you think I could get for my house if I just sold it, not actually thinking I would do that. He gave me a number and I was like, let's just put it up for sale, see what happens. Well, I profited after all expenses, profited $100,000 after 6 months of being in this home. From there, I took some of that, put 20% down on another primary residence, actually in the city of Austin this time, in the northeast area, and then I put $20,000 down in a rental property in Peoria, Illinois. Yes, I manage rental properties from afar because I use brokerages and rental property management groups that I form relationships with and have a great track record. At that point, I wasn't really happy in the house. I realized I do not like the suburban lifestyle. I do not like it. I do not like the car-dependent infrastructure, having to sit in traffic just to go do anything, living life in the life of strip malls. I hate it. Hated it, I guess, is what I meant to say, because, I mean, I still do. I wouldn't go back to that, maybe. I mean, the space would be nice, but I decided it would be worth downsizing the space in my actual home to live in the city, like a condo, like this. Somewhere where I could go outside, walk to markets, walk to amazing parks, walk where there's this life surrounding me, different coffee shops, different restaurants, everything. No more car-dependent infrastructure. This is a struggle right now. But either way, after about 6-9 months in that home, tried to do the same thing, didn't profit as much, profited probably $40,000 to $50,000 after everything was said and done. Put another 20% down on this condo down here, which comes with condo association fees, which that sucks. Then I put 20% down on another rental property in my hometown of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Which, fun fact, is the place where I'm trying to look for another good deal right now, but it's really hard with where interest rates are at. And at that point, I was working in a product management role and had 2 rental properties, and my primary residence is this condo here, and started the YouTube channel and made that first net worth video. But let's see where my net worth is today. Let's start with my checking account, and this is something I never tell people to do and I'm trying to get out of, but essentially I just kind of stockpiled money as I was going into this YouTube thing because, you know, who knows if this is actually going to be successful, so I just saved up like a year emergency fund. There's $55,359 in there, so way too much money for a checking account. It's losing value with this record inflation, and it's something I would never do. So I'm probably going to move it to a high yield or maybe into my business account as well, and then probably put some money into the stock market because this is a great time to buy. And in my business checking account, which by the way is earning 2.5% on a checking account, which is pretty nice, has $24,923. From there, we should probably see the valuations of my home currently. For my primary residence, it was at a peak of like $500,000 worth. Austin has taken a big hit, and that's why I think my net worth is probably decreased from that first video because of that. But at its most recent valuation, it's sitting around $423,900. For rental property 1, it's actually gone up only $1,300 since the last video. I got a really good deal on it. It's worth $128,300 at its most recent valuation. And then for my second rental property, it's pretty much stayed flat. There's not too many units available in that town, and there's pretty good demand, so it's sitting at $92,000. I bought it for $90,000, by the way. Now, I have a Roth IRA, and I've been rolling some stuff over from previous employers. In there, we need to take a look at what's invested. It's all been pretty recent. Then I also have some other 401ks that were traditional instead of Roth-based, and I still have yet to roll those over. Those are probably about $5,000, but I'm just not going to include them in here because I don't have an exact number, and I don't think that's fair. But let's look at my Roth IRA right now. My Roth IRA, with the market taking a big old dump this year, $34,432. Now, that is split between 3 different mutual funds, which have a great historic return within Fidelity, like fantastic. One was like 13% over 10-year averages, one was 12%, and the other one was 12% as well. And then I have the final fourth of my portfolio, mostly heavily put in just the S&P 500, and then a little bit put in the NASDAQ as well. I still have yet to put my $6,000 max in there for the year, and I plan on doing that I plan on doing that either way, but I'm really trying to see if I can find a good real estate deal right now. But now we have to talk about good old debts. Good news, no credit card debt. I would never have credit card debt. I talk about this on the show all the time. I yell at people with credit card debt. That is not something I would ever do. I pay those off constantly. But I definitely have leverage on these properties, and I have some low interest rate student loans that make no mathematical sense to pay off early, especially if they're potentially forgiven, which at this point, probably not, but still. So for those student loans that, again, don't make mathematical sense to pay off, but I still don't like having them, student loans. I have $36,000. Gross, gross, gross. I would never do that again. I can't believe I did that, but our culture essentially doesn't understand student debt when 18-year-olds go and sign up for a huge, big old bill with that and then encourage everyone to go to school no matter what. It's rough, and you hear me rant about that a lot. For home one, the primary home, my leverage position is $319,175, which, by the way, I don't remember the interest rate. I think it's like 4%, so I'm pretty happy with that. For rental property number one, $95,284, which was like 4.5% for the interest rate. And for rental property two, $63,936. And I think that was sitting at 3.5% interest. So those are my debts. No car debt at this point. So it's just those student loans and then my leverage positions on real estate holdings. So let's break down the math and see what my total net worth is at the end of 2022. I wish I was 22. I'd be young and beautiful. So in terms of assets I own and cash, it is $758,914, but then there's a leverage position of $514,395. That leaves my net worth at $244,519, which is very disappointing because I have a lot more cash than I did when I did the original net worth video. But the real estate market, man, $75,000 lost in my primary residence, and my investment portfolio within the stock market has also gone down. So let's see where that relates to the original video, which I gotta look up. It was my 7th video uploaded, and it was 5 minutes, 11 seconds. I have a feeling we're a little longer than that right now. I actually expected my net worth to dip due to retirement accounts going down and the housing market potentially flatlining. So I was predicting my net worth to go down for the future, and I was correct. Okay, so wow, this actually isn't crazy. For the insane decline we've had this year, my net worth has only dropped by $2,000. It was at $246,000. So once the market rebounds, inevitably real estate and stock market, man, I'm excited to see where this thing goes over the next couple of years. That's actually, I don't feel too terrible about this, even though it hurts that it's pretty much stagnant. But in reality, where do I expect it to go from here? I expect it to go down a little bit, throughout next year, potentially, at least through the middle of next year. But I certainly, if there's not a rebound by the end of next year, we're looking 2-3 years, I'm pretty bullish on Austin's market going forward for real estate. I'm going to continue to invest in, my Roth IRA and then brokerages as well. I've been pretty heavily in the real estate game, and I should probably even that out by getting more into the brokerage and everything. There's an extra $5,000 that I'm missing, just sitting out there from my past 401ks that were traditional that I need to move over as well. And I expect things to recover. I'll continue to invest, and hopefully, YouTube will continue to go well, and I can continue to invest that money as well. And I'm optimistic about the future, and I think that's a good thing. No, that's definitely a good thing, being optimistic about the future, but we'll just see what actually happens because none of us know. But either way, make sure you're subscribed, follow all the socials, and check the links in the description. Thanks.